Getting things going with the 12-team PPR mock draft tonight on Sleeper. I'll be drafting from the 1.8 draft position, and we are underway with Jamar Chase. It is a tradition unlike any other. One of these times we'll see a running back taken first, but I don't think it's right. I think Jamar Chase in a full PPR, you just got to take the gift at the top of the draft. And there is even a case to be made that CeeDee Lamb is a great pick as well at the 1.2. I love me some CeeDee Lamb. I find a way. Like, my favorite day of the fantasy season every year is when I trade for CeeDee Lamb. And I always try to do it on the Cowboys bye week because it's the only time, and you still have to overpay. But I love doing it, and almost every year I manage to do it. Granted, I'm in enough leagues where it's like, if I didn't draft him, I can spend that whole week trying to get him somewhere because I am such a fan of his. Jefferson goes 4. We've got 2 RBs, and we've got 3 receivers in the top 5 picks. Again, full PPR. I think it's different in a half-point PPR league. I think that shift toward running back makes more sense. But, man, if you can lock in a Jefferson, a Lamb, a Chase, there's other receivers in the first round that I think are super good values as well. There's another one right there in Amon-Ra St. Brown. Oh, my goodness. You guys, did you do that for me on my birthday? It's not my birthday, but it feels like a day of celebration because you let me have Jahmyr Gibbs at the 8. You know, I was talking up receivers. I wasn't trying to steer you guys. I don't even know how many people in the draft are watching the draft, but I was certainly talking up wide receivers. I would love Gibbs at the 8. I think Gibbs is a top 5 player. In PPR, I know that I've just got done talking about wide receiver, but Gibbs is going to catch the football too. I like me some Jahmyr Gibbs. So we are going to start off happily with Jahmyr Gibbs at the 8. Don't go easy on me now tonight, chat. Come on. We want to make this as grueling as last night, and it was. It was grueling last night. We got 9 likes. Let's get up to 10. I know we can do it. Lamb or Jettas? Cody wants to know. I'm going Lamb. I think the order of the receivers that were taken was correct. At least in the top 4. And then you get into Puka Nacua, and like you start to wonder about Matt Stafford. And so, you know, that's the order I would go is Chase, Lamb, Jefferson, Amon-Ra. And I find myself, I like that Big Lou took Amon-Ra at the 6 because he falls sometimes to the back end of the first round, and I'm not clicking him like I should be. Now, the dad last night was our drafter from the 1-1. He's on the other turn tonight, and he grabs Neighbors at the turn. That's late for Malik Neighbors. I know he's been nursing a bit of an injury, but this has been an RB-heavy back half of that first round with Henry, CMC, and Genty before Neighbors slips to the 2.1. All right, I'm on the clock. 22 seconds to go here, round 2. We've got to go receiver, don't we? But maybe not. Maybe this is our, oh my gosh, you guys are going to go 8. Oh my gosh. Achane or Bowers? You guys, you're going easy on me, aren't you? I should go Bowers, but I know I wouldn't pass. Now, granted, the injury is probably why Achane falls to the middle of the second. I can't say that 2 weeks from now I would or wouldn't pass on Achane at this pick because I don't know what the injury is going to be. But right now, as we're mock drafting, I'm going to draft as though Achane is going to make week 1 or he's going to miss week 1, and that's going to be that. He's not, you know, it can be easier said than done to do it that way because it's a mock. I understand if y'all have your real draft, let's say later this week or this weekend, you're going to need to make a decision on that, and that's why Achane maybe slips a little bit. But this is probably the only day of the draft calendar that anybody has said, yeah, I can get Gibbs and Achane from in the same draft. I mean, that's unthinkable. So as much as Bowers is a nice little target for round 2, if you're in the middle of the round and like Ladd McConkey was gone, London, Nico, all the wide receivers that I really wanted were gone, which is why, by the way, you see an RB run thereafter. Everybody's stocking up on their running backs. A.J. Brown's a great pick. I just, for whatever reason, I don't click him. I don't often seem to click him. But that's our second wide receiver start coming from the 4 spot there. Art Lippo loves him some wide receivers. I play in several leagues with Art, and he's a wide receiver honk, which I can appreciate as a wide receiver honk myself. But this year, man, I don't know. I'm probably taking a running back in round 1 or round 2 unless I go receiver Bowers or maybe like toward the end of the second round, receiver Josh Allen. Like Jamar Chase, that's the one. Let's see what this guy does at the turn. because, you could make a case that there's no running back to be had here, but there's multiple quarterbacks. You could pick your best quarterback. You could go Kyron Williams. Like, if you really feel like you have to go running back, that's the last one for me. And that's what Team 1 ends up doing. That's the last one for me. And shoot, he goes Josh Allen too. So I like that, I like that setup. But after that, it's not that James Cook, Breece Hall can't be good. And then, Marion Hampton, you get into your first rookie that's going to come off the board. I just think there's a difference between the names that have been drafted so far in this draft at running back and the ones that there's a tier break for me. And that's true even before you get into James Cook, because I watched a lot of Bills games last year. I had James Cook in my big league for a good portion of the season. I came into him as almost like a throw-in in a trade. He was like an ancillary piece to what I was trying to do, but ended up kind of having to write it out with him for a while. And my goodness, did I see a lot of Ray Davis and Ty Johnson on my TV screen. So I just don't think he's quite been used as that workload. The Bills are one of those teams that knows it's going to be in the playoffs. And so when you act that way during the regular season, you want to keep a guy like James Cook fresh, and that's kind of what they did. Excuse me. All right, so we've got a receiver run sort of beginning as I'm 3 picks away. James Cook is still sitting there. I can't pick him, though. I got to stop looking at running backs. I've got 2. That's the one downside to picking 2 running backs off the top. You can. I mean, you can. We'll see if Team 5 does here. But I cannot personally be the one that's then taking another running back in round 3 or even 4, even if there's a great value. Like James Cook in the middle of the third could end up becoming a really nice value. He's what? Is he 32nd listed on the board here on Sleeper? ADP's right around 32. So that means he should be dropping to right around where my pick is actually in round 3. But even if he slides past that, I can't pick him because I've kind of locked myself in. I'm complaining about Gibbs Achane. I know, listen to me. But that is like a little side aspect of it. And normally I like pounding receivers as we get into this part of the draft. But, man, when it's a sharper room, you're not getting the same receiver in round 7 that you were, 3 weeks ago when you were doing mock drafts by yourself. It's a different beast when you're in with real fantasy players. So that's something I'm going to have to consider as well. Like, can I afford to push wide receiver another round here? If I do, it's going to be to pick a quarterback because Lamar Jackson's still sitting there. I normally am looking at Jaden Daniels at this round of the stage of the draft, but Lamar's still sitting there. I may push and see because I almost just want to see as a matter of curiosity how far the quarterbacks fall. And I don't take much Marvin Harrison, so let's do it. This is a draft where I'm going to say, you know what, let's go ahead and push quarterback because I think there's so much good value still on the board with wide receivers, and I didn't have any. Marvin Harrison, like T. Higgins is great, but it feels like a tier break after Marv because he is going to be the wide receiver 1. Granted, you have Trey McBride, and that's going to be a whole thing. But I think there's T. Higgins is the number 2 to the number 1 wide receiver in football. So as much as I think he's a great talent, I also haven't ever been able to get over the injury stuff with him. It's like all week, he's not going to play, he's going to play. There's a whole thing at Cincinnati Bengals practice where depending on how T. Higgins takes the hill, because they actually have to go up a hill to get to their practice, that is what determines whether or not T. Higgins is going to play that week. And it's been, from what I understand, pretty much foolproof over the years. Like, if he's questionable, but he's huffing it up the hill like he means it, he's going to play. If he's probable or not even on the injury report, but you see him like limping up the hill or taking it slow, then it tells you, oh, he's not going to play this week. It's apparent. I discovered this last year. People have known about it for a while. Travion Henderson goes off the board right 1 pick before me, and I can live with that. There still is Jalen Hurts right now on the board. That would be the quarterback that I would take if I weren't going to really push the position, but I think I would rather get somebody else. Omarion Hampton falling to the middle of the 4th, and Omarion Hampton going after Henderson is really interesting. It's round 4. I have to commit at this point. I've got to get me another wide receiver. Don't be tempted. I like Omarion Hampton. Don't anybody get me wrong, but I've got 2 running backs, so I will give the gift right there to Dead Ringer, and I will take the gift of Achane as my RB2. Looking back, could it have been Gibbs, Bowers, Marvin Harrison, Hampton for me? Sure, but as I think I'm pretty comfortable with the way this draft is going. And I went Worthy this time at receiver. Let's talk about that pick for a minute. Because I went Tedero McMillan yesterday, was a little bit later in the 4th round yesterday. Day before that, I went Devontae Smith. You're just seeing me, take turns with all my buddies because all these guys in that range of the draft, a lot of those other names are kind of around 5 names, but Worthy is one that, he wasn't making it back to me. And I really am a believer in Xavier Worthy because I'm a believer in the Chiefs passing offense this year, taking it up a notch compared to what it's been. Nice pick by Caleb on Jalen Hurts. You don't often see him fall to the back of the 4th. What will be interesting is, does no quarterback in rounds 1 and 2, which is relatively standard, but then way late in round 3, do we see Jackson and Daniels go? Another gap for Hurts. Where do the next quarterbacks fall? Tetero McMillan goes back of the 4th. Where do the next quarterbacks fall in Burrow, Mahomes, et cetera? Because last night, I think, was when I took Mahomes way late. I won't even say what round it is because I don't want to influence people. That'll be interesting to me to see, okay, do people start to feel the itch a little bit at quarterback, or does it stay like it's been so far where, at least through the first year of QBs, we've seen everybody collectively kind of push at the position? Hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already. Appreciate everybody who is joining into the YouTube stream. And Ryder is in here. What's up? Glad I could finally catch one live. Yeah, man, hit the subscribe, hit the bell. I'm going to try to live stream as many times as I can before the season begins because it's just one of those things that, we have a lot of fun doing it. And so I would love to be able to do it and also kind of build up the YouTube channel just a little bit more. Rashee Rice goes off the board. I am going to have to do a little clicky-click action. Excuse me for a moment. We're getting a little lag here from our sleeper side of things, so hopefully that addresses itself. I don't like how long this is loading. I'm not a fan of that. But it's no problem at all. We didn't hardly miss a thing. Rice goes early 5th. I mean, Ren putting together that receiving core tonight with Lamb, JSN, Tetero McMillan, and you've got Rice in the flex. That is attractive to me. Yeah, the dad mentioning that Stafford is back at practice. Back at practice, I just don't know how much of a trust factor we can really have. We'll see, though. We'll see. Hopefully he plays and it's fine. Oh, my gosh. We're getting all kinds of issues on the computer. Come on now. Hopefully I'm not missing a pick. Time's up for Big Lou. Joe Burrow goes right before me. He was not a temptation, and so we're feeling fine about that. Right now, Laporta is top of the PPR queue, and that would be a tight end that could get interesting in this kind of tier. I just wait, though, at this point. I've got 2 lovely, lovely running backs, and so we're just going to go ahead and take a receiver. Zay Flowers, I've been neglecting Jamison Williams recently, though. Let's take J-Mo and basically go, yep, we're watching a lot of Lions games again this year, folks. One thing I do know from playing a lot of best ball, I've got 3 Week 8 buys on my roster right now. Gibbs, Marv, and J-Mo, which is more than I probably want, but screw it. And then, look, it went the exact opposite. We get Burrow and Mahomes in the 5th tonight. So now people are going to start to panic on QB, are they? We'll see. Art Lippo gets a piece of that Chiefs passing offense. What feels really fun right now this year about Mahomes is the stackability. Like, I could have stacked him with Worthy if I wanted to. You could stack him with Rice. You could definitely backstack him with Kelsey. Renegade says, feels like him or me or Brenden, they're always snagging J-Mo. I haven't taken him enough in this recent stretch. I haven't taken enough Waddle in these streams, but I think I took Flowers in one. I took Smith. I'm pretty equal opportunity on all those wide receivers that went here in the 5th. I like them all, and to rate them is very difficult. I would be honest and say that if this was a real draft, I probably would have picked a different one because the bye week thing might have gotten me a little bit queasy. It shouldn't, but I think it would have, if I'm being honest with myself. So I'm only highlighting receiver right now, but I should look around. Laporta is still there. In the 6th round, maybe it becomes a discussion. We'll see if Lippo decides to snag him. He doesn't, so I can't. I have 2 Lions. If I had gone Zay Flowers or Travis Hunter or Waddle, maybe I would do Laporta here. I'm not gonna triple down. No, this spot is usually Olave, Addison, Odunze. The Judy thing, I could regret it because there are some. Remember that primetime game? It was a Monday night where he had like 22 targets and 19 catches or whatever it was. Like, Jerry Jeudy is a target monster. But if I'm drafting a Bear or I'm drafting a Brown right now, I'm going to pick the Bear. So I go Rome Odunze. In the tiebreaker for Odunze, Addison is simply that one of them suspended for 3 games and the other one's not. They're both the number 2 on some solid passing offenses there in the NFC North. And Olave, I think Olave, when push comes to shove, maybe is the better talent than both those guys. And same with Jeudy. But I leaned into the offense, which I think I should have been more willing to go Jeudy Olave simply because it's my flex. How reliant am I on the player? That was kind of my thought is if there's a regret there, it's because I should trust that Jerry Jeudy is getting a dozen targets a game and Odunze is going to be hot cold. But I'm trying to project with Odunze of what we're going to see rather than what we've seen in the past. And so will it work out for me? Will it not work out? We'll see. But that's why I go Odunze in that spot. I don't really regret it. I like having Rome Odunze. I enjoy him. I think he's going to have kind of that year 2 breakout. Hit that like button if you'd be so kind. We have, looks like 13 likes on the stream so far. Appreciate all of them. Appreciate you guys. And now let me pull this back up so I can see where we're at. Move us down a little bit so everybody can. I hate that, man. I didn't want to move it all the way. Just give me a little bit of a move. Thank you. And Caleb stops the slide there for Laporta. Let's see Caleb's whole team. He goes Bijan Taylor. That's a great double RB start. Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, stacked with Hurts. Laporta, that's a great start so far by Caleb. Out of the 3 spot. HD said he's going very Ravens heavy. See what that looks like over here. Yeah, you sure have. Stacked Flowers and the running back Henry with Lamar. That can be fun. I like having one league that's kind of like that per year. I don't think I could do that as a strategy in every league. But if you're going to do it with a team like the Ravens. Do it with a team like maybe the Lions. There could be some risk in that. What are some other teams that you'd stack that way? You could do the Eagles. You could go Hurts, Smith, Saquon. Like, you could have done that from the 3. Well, no, you couldn't have. Yeah, you could have. Bijan was the first RB off the board, so that could have been a. But again, I think at a certain point you also do want to spread the wealth a little bit. Laporta got sniped, yeah, but Laporta was, he was falling for a while. It's very interesting, though, that both of the drafters right after the Laporta said, I'm still taking the tight end, even if it's not the one I wanted. Hawkinson, Kelsey, Andrews off the board. So no mega stack for HD on those Ravens. And then don't look now, but tight end is pretty much tidied up for most people, at least everybody to the left of me. Clowns to the left of me, chokers to the right, it seems. There you go. So I basically know, hey, man, if I don't take a tight end here, it very well could be that another bunch of them are off the board. But I generally am committed at this point to punting it. At this point in the draft. If I haven't taken one yet, I'm probably not taking one. At least until way later. Okay, round 7. Something weird has happened. Something weird has happened in round 7 because you people have been absolutely drooling over Emeka Egbuka, and y'all didn't pick him yet. So I'm going to get to pick him for the first time. This demonstrates a really good spot for Egbuka on my team because when y'all had been taking him, I either took an early quarterback or I took a tight end, and if I were taking, like yesterday, I think I took Zay Flowers, and Egbuka was taken before my next pick. Like, that's a gap for me. I love the upside for Egbuka, but there is a definite gap there. This time, Flowers goes in the 5th. Egbuka falls to the late 7th. I think mid-7th is appropriate for him, but like I said, if he goes to a team like mine tonight, I really like my squad because he's my 5th receiver. And I don't have a single suspension on my roster. So I'm liking this for sure. Yeah, the Jalen McMillan injury as well is going to probably push Egbuka up. this will be the first time that I really wish we were playing this league when it comes to the draft I'm having, because I got a couple of deals. I made sure to get my receivers in the middle, but I got a deal on Igbuka and I got a deal on Achane. Igbuka's still probably only a 7th-round name to me, though, because like Olave went in the same round. I'd prefer Olave for sure. What a steal by Caleb. Judy, I still prefer. Addison, all these guys. But Addison, Judy, Olave might be about that line. And so, like, Pearsall is in the same category for me, but, I just think the talent is more, I can't say it's more proven because Pearsall's been in the NFL. Igbuka hasn't. But I think I was liking Igbuka when he was at Ohio State. So I need to remember that, because that's how I get myself into trouble. If I start looking at guys that I didn't care about in college and then I get lured, that's how you go Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. And for those who know, they know that I once did that. But I like Igbuka. And I do have him in a dynasty. So that's, if I strike out in my whole redraft, at least I have him somewhere. So now we're a pick away. Art Lippo's going to set the board for us here. We've got no quarterback and no tight end, but we are so set at the 2 positions you want to be so set at. Mixon's taken. We've got a lot of flexibility, a lot of things we can do here. It's around, is it the 8th round? It is the 8th round. I could take my 6th receiver. That feels a little bit extra. I could stack Kyler with Marvin. I could do a couple different things. Instead, I'm going to reach a little bit. I don't know if it's a reach. I lied about tight end. Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland. Those are the 2 guys that I would take. And you guys have been taking guys early. And this is a reach, I think, on Warren. But they've announced Daniel Jones as the starter, and I think that's good for the passing volume of the Colts receivers. I don't think Danny Dimes is any good, but he can throw and sustain that version of an offense more than Anthony Richardson would have. Richardson might have put up more fantasy points than Daniel Jones. In fact, I'm sure he would have. But that's not going to be the way that you get the pass catchers involved. Daniel Jones is that way. So let me go Tyler Warren and hope he builds a connection with Dimes. Because here's the thing about that tight end position. A lot of the guys that have been taken, I think they're going to be like solid contributors, producers. Hawkinson, Laporta, Kelsey, Andrews, like those guys are all cut from the same cloth. They're kind of a tier in the middle of tight end. The guys at the top, Bowers, McBride, I think are a tier. Kill's kind of in between the 2 tiers, in my opinion. As you open up into another tier, the other names being, kind of pushed up to the top of the ADP. Ingram, I just don't care. And Njoku, I get it, for best ball, sure. Jonnu Smith, like there's a cap to what's happening with those guys. And there's some other tight ends I actually do like, and I need to think more about the position. Tucker Kraft, I like. Pitts, I've talked about liking him. But Warren is like, there's upside. If it works, it's going to really work. And that's the way of all the tight ends down there, as Caleb about misses his pick, of all the tight ends down below this Tyler Warren pick of mine here, I think he's got about as good of a chance as any of them to be a top 5, top 3, top 1 type of tight end. I don't think he's going to probably do it as a rookie. That rarely happens. But like if anybody's going to turn into a Brock Bowers, again, thinking about guys I liked in college, every time Tyler Warren was on my screen watching a Penn State game, I was probably thinking, hey, get that backup quarterback to Mizzou. And then I was thinking, man, Tyler Warren is a dude. So I think I don't love the landing spot for him with the Colts, but I think he's a really good player. And I think they will use him. I don't like the clicking sound. Okay. No. We're glitching out. We got to refresh. But that'll give me a moment to tell everybody or plead with y'all to hit subscribe and like the stream. Appreciate yo 35 viewers. We like that. 14 likes. Can we get it to 20? South C77 says, whiffed on quarterback. 2 quarterbacks for Fields and Penix. Would you drop one for Love, Darnold, Caleb, Tua, or McCarthy? If you're talking about, the answer is going to be yes on that, but hold on. Let me make sure I'm not missing something here. Kyler goes, because I still haven't picked a quarterback yet. And there's a lot of them to be had. Kyler, I could have stacked with Marvin. Goff, I can stack with J-Mo and Gibbs. Can't stack Goff with Goff, you moron. Goff, Gibbs, J-Mo could be a thing for my team here. And it looks like quarterback, team 4 needs one. Team 2 needs one. Nobody needs one to my right. So we're not picking a quarterback here. That's a little tip, a little free tip for you. Unless you're really thinking you're in a league with some idiots that'll draft a backup. All right. Brendan, lock in. Brian Robinson still going is interesting. Where is the running back that I'm looking for? Has he been taken? I'm not ashamed to say I'm looking for Trey Benson. It's a reach, but just give me Trey Benson. I've got 5 receivers. The last 2 days, I've gone like Charbonnet, which I think is the same tier. And Art goes Krosky Merritt right after I comment about Brian Robinson. God bless the Krosky Merritt truthers. I think he'll be good. I wish I had a little more of him in best ball than I do. I do have a little bit of a dynasty stash of him because I picked him up on waivers a day after the draft a couple weeks ago, so that was cool. I would trade him, though. I saw a trade where, what did somebody say? It was like Krosky Merritt and a second rounder for Zay Flowers or something like that. I would totally do that trade. You know, I would lock into an elite wide receiver for Dynasty if I could with that pick. But nevertheless, I wanted to get Trey Benson. It probably doesn't even make sense either because of my freaking week 8 bye that I have at running back and wide receiver. I've got 2 Cardinals now, which I don't think I love the offense that much. But I just remembered that the last couple of days I kept taking Charbonnet, who's also a week 8 bye, so what does it matter? And Charbonnet would go and then Benson would go. I think I prefer Charbonnet, but I want to diversify. I want to get Benson on a team so I could at least say, hey, I did it. I got Benson on several Dynasty teams as well. I think this could be a good year for him. More I think through it, I might have him on just about all of my Dynasty teams. Keenan Allen goes. Art is going to surely surprise us with something wonderful here. He better pick another receiver. Well, he's got 4. Tight end. We'll see if Lippo goes tight end. Benson better than Connor, hopefully. The Cardinals realize that. Yeah, I don't know if that's true. Connor's a really good player, and man, when Connor was subbing in for Le'Veon Bell, I drafted Bell that year, and then nobody had taken James Conner, and I realized it, and I had to wait a whole day for waivers, and I obviously picked up Connor, and he ended up being huge for me that season. I think I even got to trade Le'Veon Bell. That was when he was holding out. We weren't sure exactly when, we were going to see it come to fruition, if we were. And I think I even still got a little bit of value for him. I know who I want. I just have to type his name in. Braylon Allen's the other running back that you guys keep sniping from me around later. I'm not letting you do it today. So we'll grab those 2. 4 running backs. That's going to be it. We don't have to take any more. Our wide receiver 6 tonight is going to be lesser than what we had been getting because I'm pushing that to try and really load up. So this is the most draft capital I've probably ever spent at running back. I mean, ever. Gibbs, Achane, my first 2 picks, and then you got to wait. That's the double hero build. But as we're building out our bench, we're looking for upside. First year, second year, maybe third year running backs all could fit the bill. But guys that could step into a large role or could have a role themselves even without an injury. But certainly the contingent value on Benson and Allen, I think, is very high. And in Allen's case, Breece Hall could be traded. No, it wouldn't shock me. It would surprise me, but it wouldn't shock me. And I'm just looking for a reason. In a dynasty, I actually, within the last couple of weeks, I had this huge plan concocted to get Brock Bowers. And I was able to do it. Caleb, Team 3, actually helped me do it. He didn't know it. Unwittingly, he helped me do it. Because I had to get McBride first, and then I had to flip McBride with Breece Hall for Bowers and Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen was, again, an ancillary piece in that deal, but I was already thinking Braylon Allen could be the truth. And the drumbeat has been pretty strong on him since then. So as I'm getting into around 8, 9, 10, like Benson, Braylon Allen, Krosky Merritt, Charbonnet, Tank Bigsby. I think Jordan Mason is a very good value in the 10th as well. He's probably a better value than Braylon Allen. I didn't even look to see. You all saw me type the name in. I didn't look to see who was still there. Mason, I have probably above Braylon Allen. Very similar, though, when you think about it. Mason and Aaron Jones, Braylon Allen and Breece Hall, Jones and Hall are kind of the more pass catching, probably not goal line. Mason, Allen are more the bruising goal line type of backs. Can't really catch the football. Excuse me, got the hiccups. But I just think Braylon Allen could be somebody that short yardage, touchdowns, and again with the contingent value in case of a trade or an injury. There goes Loveland. I like it, Caleb. Caleb told me I was too kind on his draft grade last night, which at the end I'll do another draft grade because I'll post the grades as a video standalone, and I'll post this. I'll post the meat and potatoes of the draft as a video on the channel. So if you only just watch the live streams, check out my channel. I've been working hard on putting YouTube shorts up and stuff like that as well too. So appreciate you guys for jumping into the chat here. Make sure to hit that like button. We're up to 16. Would love to get up to more than 16. And subscribe. I'm going to update the live subscriber count here momentarily if there is an update to be made. Drum roll, please. Refreshing. There is. We've gained 3 subscribers, which is sick. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, man, last year this channel was cooking, and then I ignored it almost the entire football offseason. And guess what? When I showed back up, YouTube was like, nope. we're not showing your content to people because you haven't done any for 6 months. I was like, you know what? That's fair. So we have to show proof of concept that we're going to be here. And we will be here all fantasy season. I will be posting every week this season. I started last year doing trade stuff and trade strategy videos. Those will probably come out Tuesday or Wednesday each week. Try and get everybody ready. The waiver stuff is kind of overdone. If people want waiver content, I could do it. Let's take a draft pick here, though. Caleb Williams is gone, and he's the one that I really would have probably liked to have. Yeah. Don't auto me. Okay. Let me take auto off. I did get that pick in. But Jared Goff, I was talking about Jared Goff 3 rounds ago. And then I went on my little running back tour of Europe. Benson and Braylon are not European. I don't know why I said that. So, look, if I'm doing it in the 11th round, stacking this offense with, Jahmyr Gibbs will catch touchdowns from Goff. That will occur this year. J-Mo will catch touchdowns from Goff. That will occur this year. Is it a little bit of a weird expenditure? Yeah, maybe, because there's other pieces that I'm seeing now that, I would like to draft. I've got 4 running backs, so I've got everything I need there. Because of having a rookie tight end, I could consider a tight end. We've got a couple tight ends still left that I think are actually a good amount of tight ends that I left. So I'll highlight a couple of those. I will look at receiver. Hollywood Brown is maybe interesting. That's not the way I normally go with my bench receivers. Yeah, Kyle Pitts would have been the tight end I would have liked, I think, as my backup. But not Quay needed one, so that's all good. Yeah, bench receiver, I normally am looking for rookies and upside, right? Oh, could I take Isaac Tesla and just call it a day? Just quintuple down on Lions? Maybe I will. As of right now, that's what I'm going to do. You know what? No, I'm going to take Dalton Kincaid because I think people are leaving Dalton Kincaid for dead, and I get it. He had a brutal moment in the playoffs last year. Quay saying this is the year for Kyle Pitts. Not necessarily the year for Kyle Pitts, but he's going in the 12th round, people. There is a difference between, I always say it, there are no bad players, only bad draft picks. And the same in reverse can be true. All right? Kyle Pitts can be a good draft pick because you can be taking him in the 12th. And look, there are bad players. It's the ones that don't get drafted are the ones that I look at and go, shouldn't have got drafted. Kyle Pitts is free at the end of drafts. He would have been really good for my build when I went Tyler Warren. Let's see it with the rookie. Maybe you even start Kyle Pitts week 1. But as Renegades, and I know it's not, it's Renegades. I can never pronounce your username. As he said, no risk in round 12. So it doesn't have to be Kyle Pitts season. The reality is where he's going, for all of us, it should be Kyle Pitts season because you should just be drafting him. When you get to that point in the draft, I think that's a great pick in the 12th round. But I also like Kincaid. And I don't know if the Godspeed comment from Caleb was making fun of me for taking Kincaid. but he's the tight end for Josh Allen. I know that Josh Allen spreads the ball too much, but I'm not again, the price is right, the 12th round. And again, this is one draft where I probably will never have 5 running backs on a team unless I go 0 RB and I'm stocking my whole bench with them. I might as well, when I had a rookie tight end that we don't know the role just yet, let's let that be the spot where I double down and go from there. And that's what I did. I went double down on tight end, which is unusual. So I can take Jake Fergie off the board. If Hollywood's still there in the last round, I'll take him probably. Contingent value for Worthy. Contingent value for Rashee Rice. Suspension. So that's an okay guy to have. Normally, though, I'm taking young receivers. It's just all the good young receivers that I like are kind of... I did it already. Odunze Igbuka, like, I love my team. The quarterback stuff with Goff, like, you could make a case that I should be taking a second quarterback as well. But there's so many good ones. I could take Justin Fields. I could take Drake May. I could take Stroud, Purdy, Herbert. I could take any of those guys, and I would be just fine. The only reason I took one is because of the stack, and it was a double. Big Lou asks, do you believe in Caleb? I do. I believe in Caleb. I believe in Ben Johnson. When I drafted Dunze, I was looking for Caleb. He ended up going a little bit earlier in round 11. I could have taken him in the 10th round, but I don't think Braylon Allen would have made it back to me. Same thing in the 9th round. I just wanted to grab those backup running backs, which this roster maybe doesn't need it, but since I have an injury already to one of my RBs in Achane, maybe I did need it. But yeah, I believe in Caleb, and I believe in that offense. I mean, I'm excited about that offense. Where did Luther Burden go? Did anybody see? I was kind of not paying attention. I know he can't possibly still be on the board. Yeah, he's not. I'll find it later. I'm going to miss my pick, though, if I'm not careful. Screw it. We will take Tesla because it's just funny to take half the Lions roster. All right, I'm going to check once again to see if I'm missing anything on YouTube, and then we will grade each team. That's going to be the way that we do it here. Grade each team in the draft. 18 likes. Can we get to 20? Help me out, gang, if you're watching still, please. That sounded a little bit too begging. But please do check it out. Why are we stop? Enough. Too much clicking. Too much beeping. I've wrapped up my draft, but I feel pretty good about it too. Feeling pretty good about it. We'll talk about each team. We'll grade everybody's team. Let me find the YouTube chat and see if there's anything I'm missing. Not a lot, which is all good. Trevor says, my favorite fantasy year is when Jameis Winston and Mike Evans was the best stack of all time. Jameis threw for 5,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, but had like 30 picks as well. That's some good stuff. Hit like and hit subscribe on the channel if you are watching. We've been doing live streams. You can ask everybody in the chat. We've had one of these for like the last, 4 nights. I'm starting to lose count of how many nights in a row we have done a mock draft live stream. The board's been quiet for a while. It's over. That's why. Sorry about that. I had muted it because we were clicking into oblivion. That's the one thing that Sleeper does. It glitches more often than I want.